Welcome back to your daily dose. I'm your host Alize, and this is a daily dose where y'all already know we stay doing the most. If y'all haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Y'all already know I'm your favorite YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So I want to say I have been gone for the 7 days. I remember telling you guys that I would update you guys every day on my 7-day mental day challenge. I had got sick really bad. I had a fever about 103 degrees. I was my body was weak. I just didn't, and I'm sorry for not posting for you guys, but I actually wanted to post towards the end, and I want to actually talk about my 7-day mental challenge and how it went for a little bit to let you guys know what happened, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get into the rest of the video. If you want to skip this part, you can. You don't have to listen to it, but I want to say that this is actually going to technically it's going to correlate, like everything's going to come together. So when I went on my 7-day mental day challenge, I was off social media for a bit. I did not post. I wanted to give myself enough time to really meditate, go into myself, and I really wanted to take time away from the outside world, and I wanted to go more within and change my beliefs on how I felt about myself. So during my 7-day mental challenge, I'm not gonna lie, my third day was the toughest, because the third day was where it was a lot of limiting beliefs that were attacking me and making me feel like I wasn't good enough for the things that I have been manifesting into my reality, and just overall how I've been feeling about myself, and my insecurities and things of that nature. So the third day was really tempting, only because during the third day of my mental diet, I noticed it reminded me of when I started my fruit fast. On the third day, I started to crave a lot of the bad foods, the sugars, the salt, the sodium, stuff like that, and a lot of the, like chips and, shit that we normally like to eat. And it was the same thing that I noticed would happen with my mental day diet, my 7-day mental detox. It was really like, damn, I was like, it was almost like my subconscious wanted to go back to that lower state of being and wanted to stay in that stagnant area where I'm so used to, where I'm so comfortable. And I fought through it. The fourth day, something had triggered me. My friend had said something about the new job. By the way, I have a new job. I will be starting. I don't have a start date, but I'm starting soon. The pay rate is actually, the hourly pay is actually a lot way more than what I'm making now. I'm actually very excited about it. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop there, but I feel like this is really meant for me to elevate and to really, take myself higher than that. And I manifested this job, by the way. I am gonna post the story about that, but we'll get into that later. So basically, it was very, it was hard for the first few days, and then the fourth day she said something that I didn't like, and we ended up talking it out, and I ended up responding to it rather than reacting to it. I noticed during my 7-day mental detox, not only did I manifest my new job, but I also was able to really respond to my circumstances rather than reacting to them. On my 6th day of my mental day detox, something happened in my reality of something I was manifesting, and it was showing up as the opposite, and it was like, opposing to what I was actually affirming, and my beliefs, and changing my internal beliefs within myself. I didn't react, but I responded. However, I was hurt, I was a little upset, but it wasn't to the point where I allowed myself to go back into that limiting belief state. Now, I want to talk about the law of detachment. Now, the reason this is going to make sense and it's all going to come together, is because when you are applying the law of detachment, you are really, we have these things where, before I even go into it, we have this thing where we attach ourselves to people, places, and things. it's nothing wrong with, I'm not here to say drop the desire, don't desire what you want. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying don't attach yourself to the expectations of people and the expectations of who you are. Just live in the moment and enjoy the present moment and just allow things to naturally flow. When we do, a lot of people have talked about the law of detachment and how it has worked for them in their life. And the reason I've decided to apply the law of detachment is because I've had an attachment to people for too long, and I don't want to have an attachment to nobody. I don't want to have an attachment to places. I don't want to have an attachment to things, because it's limiting me from really growing and elevating as a spiritual being. And the path that I'm on, I can't keep attaching myself to the outcome of what will happen, or what, living for the expectations of something to happen, when I can just simply allow things to be. When you're manifesting, you're supposed to actually let things go and just allow things to naturally flow. I learned that while affirming, and when I was affirming for the things that I wanted, I realized that's not how I manifest. The way that I manifest is simply by allowing things to naturally, come to me, and, doing things that make me feel good on an everyday basis. I'm actually going to try out a new sport. And I want to try out boxing. I wanted to share that with you guys because that's something that I'm going to try out. This morning I felt good because I worked out for about 10 minutes. Then I did a 8-minute yoga. Then I did a meditation for 10 minutes, and I felt really good. And I had a conversation with myself, and I was telling myself how I've attached myself to how I've been attaching myself to people, places, and things, and why my relationships don't last, because I'm so quick to attach myself to a person and have this expectation of them completing me or making me happy, when in reality we cannot put ourselves in a position of saying, I'm not going to say we're not perfect. When we say we're not perfect, it's like saying we're not complete. You're perfect in your own way. You're perfect in you as a being. I feel like if we are a part of God's image, God is perfect. We should be perfect ourselves. We make mistakes, yes, but we are just only going through human experiences. This isn't even really who we are. We are more than this shell. Doesn't mean don't take care of it, but yeah. I feel like we look for people to make us complete. We look for something outside of us to make us feel whole. And I've done that, and I don't want to no longer do that. And I'm telling myself today I'm not doing it. I'm going to simply enjoy my life and have fun and just be happy. Because really what I want to do, I want to be happy. I don't want to live to the expectation of feeling, not saying like happiness is my overall goal, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it can be my overall goal, because I'm human. I'm gonna get upset. Things are gonna make me, things are gonna hurt me. But at the same time, do I have to allow those things to hurt me, or can I just simply just be in the moment and just say, okay, And when, on my 6th day, I want to say, the next day, I did end up having conversations with individuals and asking them, far as, not asking them, but telling them, things that have, far as what happened that really did upset me. And they actually told me they had their own opinions about the situation. And I made the conscious decision to really go within myself and ask myself and say, hey, do you want to allow this to keep you stagnant, or do you want to keep going on with your life and doing things that make you feel good? When I was, young, I used to, in my childhood, I was always rejected. I was always neglected, and I didn't feel like that person that people wanted to be around. And because when I was younger, I was bullied, and the things that I had went through in my childhood, it made me, carry on that negative self-image of who I am. Well, not who I am now, but who I was overall as an adult. And I noticed that self-image really did block a lot of opportunities and a lot of self-growth and elevation. In order for me to get to the next step, I had to keep starting over. But now I feel like I'm on the right track to where, this is actually my time to really invest more in myself and really show myself what I am capable of doing, and to take on new challenges and to do things that I love. The law of detachment really allows us to really love ourselves and really look at things from a different standpoint. Instead of reacting all the time to things that may upset us, we'll ask ourselves, am I, can this really upset me? Or, or can I actually have the, being able to, let go of the control of what the outcome will be after the situation. Instead, just saying, what, this may have happened or this may have occurred, but I'm not going to attach myself to the problem. And I think that's something that we do in our manifestations, if that makes sense. In our manifestations, we attach ourselves to the circumstances, and that's why we become so obsessed with the circumstances, and we look at the circumstances and we think that these opposing thoughts are something that happens in my reality that isn't something that I have been affirming or I've been manifesting. I've been working on myself. I've been doing this. Why is this happening? I honestly think that the negative things means that something good is happening. I feel like it's good because this is just a way, this is from your past. This is nothing to really, stop you. It's just like, this is just showing me from what I used to think, from what I'm now used to, from what I'm used to thinking as of now. This is what I used to think, but now as of today, I have changed those thoughts. I've changed those perceptions on people, places, and things, and now I see things so differently. And when you decide to not control things, you decide to let things flow. And also, when you apply the law of detachment, you then start to choose yourself, because you then start to see that you don't need these people or these places and things that you're obsessing over, because really they're just, it's not really what life is about. Not saying that being in a relationship isn't something that's good, but we don't really, our real purpose, our sole purpose on this planet is to really we all have a different purpose, okay? Our actual soul purpose, we have to complete what purpose that we were put here to complete. Whether that was to heal people, whether that was to save the world, whatever it is, and I feel like that's exactly what life is really about. These things of having relationships with people and, going out, having fun, all these things, this is nothing but just fun. And I feel like when we take these things so too serious and we take them to heart, we put ourselves in a position of becoming too attached to these things. And when we become attached to it, eventually, if it's no longer there, we feel like we have to have it, when in reality that's not true. Like, for example, you may be feeling like you're lonely because you're not in a relationship, because someone's not calling you, they're not texting you, your phone is dry. But in actuality, you're not lonely. And to be, completely honest, you're actually missing the feeling of feeling wanted by someone else, when in reality, the feeling of want should really come from you. It should really come from within. It should really come from wanting to be within your own comfort. It should become, coming from you. We don't need those outside sources that we attach ourselves to. And that's why I say going on a 7-day mental detox is really important, because when you start to clear out all these negative things out of your mind, you start to then go deeper and ask yourself questions and become more mindful and aware of your actions. And the reason I have actually gotten to the wound of why I felt the way that I felt, it helped me to understand my attachment to people, my attachment to places, and my attachment to things. And overall, I am no longer going to keep applying that type of pressure on someone else to make me feel as if though I need your validation, or I need you to make me feel wanted, to feel accepted, because really I'm already accepted. I'm accepted by myself, and I am accepted by God. And as long as God loves me, and that's really all that matters. The universe loves me, my spiritual guides love me, my higher self loves me, my childlike self loves me. As long as I have these, that's all that matters. That's why when people I don't understand, I think you don't need a relationship. You want one. It's okay to want one. I'm not saying drop your desire. I'm not saying don't manifest your specific person. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't manifest the things you want, money, all that. But just detach yourself from it. Detach ourselves from, even with money. We stress so much about bills. We stress so much about money. We stress so much about these things. But in reality, when we actually realize that money is nothing but energy, it's not, it's everywhere. Okay? There's all types of ways. When we have an attachment to something, it's nothing wrong to attach yourself to your overall goals of wanting to get to where you want to be. But when you allow yourself to detach from all of the outcomes of the things that you don't really have control over, because I'm gonna be honest with you, when you're manifesting something, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You can assume this is what's going on, you can say this is what's going on, or you can just simply be and allow yourself to stick within the present moment and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna enjoy my life, I'm just gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna allow it to happen. How I manifested my job. Before the job had contacted me and told me a little bit about what I'd be doing, what would be happening, all these great things, blah, blah, blah. And then they said, we'll get you an interview, it may happen, it may not. I said, I already had the interview, I already have the job. Within not even a couple of days, like within me doing my 7-day mental detox and me getting sick prior, they ended up giving me the interview. I scheduled it on Thursday, and I just went with the flow of things. And in the end, they said, we hope the candidate will be you. And then I added in a little taste, and next thing you know, they hired me. So it was just more so of me letting go and just naturally letting things flow. When we control or try to control the outcome of what we want, we make a big mess, because when you allow these opportunities open up when you start to love yourself. Opportunities open up when you start to choose yourself. People start to come to you. You start to become magnetic. You start to become attractive. Your specific person starts to be obsessed over you when you start to choose you. The law of detachment is not just only detaching from people, places, and things, but also detaching from the high expectations that you have of yourself. Sometimes give yourself time to breathe. Let go and just love you for who you are and where you are in this moment. And say to yourself that I am where I am, and I am where I need to be. And it's okay where I am. It doesn't matter what happens tomorrow, okay? It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. What matters and what really matters is what's happening as of now. That's why people are able to manifest so quickly, because they decide to let go of the outcomes of what will happen and stop assuming and stop applying so much pressure. I think you don't need to use affirmations. Are good, but I think we become obsessive when we affirm for our desires. And that's another video that I want to talk about later on. So, live in the moment and enjoy the moment. Look at this. Look at this, the beautiful, like the breeze and just everything around. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. That's beautiful. To me, that's beautiful. It might not be beautiful to you, but look, just recently, I got me a yoga / workout mat. These are my, I don't know what you call these, but I use these for like my push-ups and stuff. And then I got this ab roller for my abs. Oh, can you see that? There we go. Ab roller for my abs. And I got this because I wanted to start working out at home, because I was like, oh, I don't really have access to the gym yet. So I'm going to just do what I can now, and that's okay. And the more you do that, you just enjoy it. Don't be so quick to get to the goal. Enjoy the process and just simply let things go. And the more you let things go, you will allow things to naturally flow, and more opportunities will reveal themselves to you. And one thing I did realize was that although something opposing happened in my reality from what I was manifesting and my beliefs and changing it, that only shows me that things are changing, things are happening. That doesn't mean that it's not working. It is working, because when something that you see that you may not like is the opposite of what you've been affirming, or the opposite of what you've been scripting, that means that it's working. And that just means that what you want is already on its way to you, and it's here. And just enjoy it and love it and just let go. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Period. And I'm gonna drop a video letting you guys know why you need to stop affirming and just enjoy life, baby. I love y'all.